How Will Wokeism Die? By Duns Scotus. Racist, sexist, homophobe, transphobe, Nazi, white supremacist, etc., are, as we all know in the dissident right, the language of control that portions of the white population of the West use against other portions of the white population of the West to maintain control and social power. Occasionally non-whites, usually weaponized by whites of course, involve themselves in this power dynamic. But it is mainly a form of white-on-white violence, or tyranny, and like all such things it is deeply resented. But, unlike earlier tyrannies, it is not well understood. Invisible chains are, after all, the most effective ones. But no tyranny can last indefinitely. Indeed, all tyrannies have to be constantly reinvented, or rejigged, because, proportionate to their success, they all breed resistance, antithesis, and finally their own overthrow. So it will eventually be with wokeism, too, as well as its central crime, sin, or taboo, that some objectively valid generalizations and topics are somehow evil. In order to facilitate the death of this particular tyranny on the free opinions of mankind, because, yes, its negative effects ripple out over the whole of humankind, we have to start thinking concretely of how wokeism will actually die. This is not immediately clear because those who suffer most from this tyranny, certain groups of straight, male, cisgender whites, often misunderstand their oppression so badly that they end up simply reinforcing it. Dems, leftists are the real racists is a classic example. Another failing strategy is to embrace whichever term is used to oppress you, along the lines of yes, I'm a racist, Nazi. So what? In both cases the subject just strengthens their own oppression, in the first example by agreeing that the words of tyranny should have power, and in the second by isolating themselves and agreeing that they should not have power. But eventually, after a lot of false starts and toing and froing, some sort of effective resistance against the white-on-white tyranny of wokeism is bound to emerge. Here, in these pages, we have already had some worthwhile attempts to deconstruct the juggernaut, going back several years. These are mainly intellectual critiques. But a truly effective resistance against wokeism is likely to take on a more unpredictable and populist form. With that observation in mind, my predictions are that the death of wokeism will include some of the following elements. 1. In Europe and elsewhere it will take on a form of anti-Americanism. Those using woke jargon will be denounced as lapdogs of the American empire and its sick culture, and accused of resorting to American words when they make their usual power plays. They will be associated with America's globo-homo empire. This is not as unlikely as it may sound to some Americans because it is undeniable that wokeism is all part and parcel of U.S. attempts at globally projecting its anti-cultural power. 2. Anti-wokeism will also increasingly focus on wokeism as nothing more than a tool of oppression. Already non-woke, straight, male cisgender whites are the most oppressed group in Western societies. This has been masked by their ability to cope with and overcome this imposed and artificial handicap. But, in recent years we have seen the oppression escalate to the point where it is really starting to bite, not just the core group but also adjacent groups, like gay whites and white females. Even the white exploiters of the tyrannical mechanism must be increasingly ambivalent about its benefits to them, as the power they gain from it ultimately works to undermine and destroy them. 3. In America the two trends above will be weaker, because that country is the font of this poison, and, in certain important respects, wokeism serves as a useful social cement for what is in reality a deeply fragmented and asymmetrical society. However, the ongoing underclass replacement that we see in America, where Hispanics have been pushing out blacks, will highlight the black underclass white leftist upper-class synergy that has always been at the heart of wokeism. In short, wokeism in America will be perceived as a class problem. 4. As a result of this, authentic black nationalists will become more aware of how they have been weaponized and used to serve inter-white power struggles. They will respond by working to decolonize black identity politics from white leftist elite control, and instead seek synergy, Malcolm X style, with legitimate identitarian groups in American society.